Well, I think it's time to start. Hello, colleagues and dear attendees. Thank you for joining us today. We are happy that our webinars are becoming more and more regular and more popular. So we will try not to keep you bored today. And meanwhile, we will surely speak about patient recruitment and how to speed it up by nice and slow process and offsite payments. So just a quick reminder that this webinar will be recorded. All the attendees will be muted. And if you would like to hit us with your questions, please feel free to do that. You can use the question section you can see in the bottom of your screen. So please go ahead. We will answer all your questions after the main part of the webinar. Approximately, it will take us around like 30 to 35 minutes to tell you everything we would like to tell you today. And then around like 10 or 15 minutes, we'll allocate to question and answers. So with no further ado, let me start with introducing our speakers today. And I won't be shy and start with myself. So my name is Marietta, and though it sounds a little bit AA-like-ish, I've been in clinical trials for almost 10 years now. I used to work in several international CROs. And in the very beginning of 2022, I joined Flex Databases. And now I am responsible for all product marketing activities within the company. And surely the main star of today's webinar is my dear Anna Ravdel. Anna is Vice President of Business Development of Confidence Pharmaceutical Research. And Anna has already been within the industry for around 20 years, and she's been responsible for both project management and business development, collaborating with multiple biotech and pharmaceutical companies within the industry. So hello again, Anna, and I'm super happy to have you here. Yeah, I guess you're.
Hello.
Hi, hello. Again, thanks a lot for joining. And our gorgeous Evgenia is also here. Evgenia, hi.
Yeah, colleagues, nice to see you all here. A lot of favorite clients of ours. So most of you probably know me. I've been with Flex Databases for 8 years already, and been in clinical research for 15 years. I know people don't live that much, and I'm giving away my age, but it is what it is. And yeah, thank you for joining. If any questions throughout the presentation, just go ahead, ask them in the chat function. It should be somewhere below in the right corner. So we'll be happy to address them after the presentation. Thanks, Marietta, take away.
Okay, sure. So let me give you a quick dive into today's agenda. And I will finally stop talking then and pass the floor to Anna. First of all, we'll discuss how patient recruitment can benefit from automated site payments. And next, Anna will share how the site payment process is aligned in Confidence Pharmaceutical Research, and will share some hints and tips on their successful performance of subject targets. Further, I will continue with a brief presentation, a brief demo of how everything works within the system. And surely we'll share Novo Nordisk case study of their implementation of our module, subject tracking and invoicing. So without further ado, Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to our webinar dedicated to the excited matter of site payments. Thank you, Marietta, for introduction. My name is Anna Ravdel. I'm VP Business Operations at a small to medium-sized CRO Confidence Pharmaceutical Research. And together with my colleagues from Flex Databases, we'll try to show you how automated process of payments helps us to solve technical issues, accelerate payments timelines, ensures payment accuracy, and overall helps us drive patient enrollment. So Confidence is a full-service CRO providing full range of clinical trial management services in more than 35 countries. And as we all know, clinical trials, even the simplest ones, are very complex. They consist of multiple steps. Each has their own process, and this is a highly regulated field, and we need to make sure that every step and process comply with multiple laws, regulation, guidelines, etc. We all have quality management documents like SOPs, working instructions, which help us with that. And why this area is so heavily regulated? What is the goal of each clinical trial? We are working with new devices or new drugs with the hope that they will be brought to market to treat previously untreatable disease, give new treatment options to the diseases which are being treated now, improve quality of life of the patients, and all this needs to be done with the utmost care for patient safety. So all these multiple steps that we have in clinical trial, from protocol writing to site selection to clinical and medical monitoring to data management and statistics, are devoted to one goal: to bring the drug or device to the market, and to make our world a little bit better and safer place. Just a little. With everything which is going on around, we don't pretend that we can actually save it. So what do we need to achieve this goal? We need patients. And where do we take patients? Where do we get the patients? Investigative sites give them to us. And there are a lot of studies. Sites are working hard. In a lot of instances, there are multiple studies. The sites are understaffed, especially after COVID. And sometimes they'll have to select what patient enroll to which study. So we all know that sites relations are very important, not just to have healthy working relationships between sponsor, CRO, and the sites, but also for patient enrollment. And timely payments to these sites is part of these relationships. And that's, of course, the wonders of called hard cash. And this is the reason why we called this relatively technical webinar as we did, how to speed up patient recruitment by the means of automated site payments and not, say, automated site payments in clinical trials, best practices, and real use cases. So now, without further ado, let's see how we, Confidence, use this system and how its use helps us to streamline the process and helps us to bring us closer to our ultimate goal. So the system that we use is part of Flex Clinical Trial Management System, 21 CFR Part 11 compliant and fully validated. The system includes multiple modules that we use, and you can see the list on the screen. It's CRA activity management to simplify and streamline monitoring, learning management system to ensure that everyone is trained on time, electronic TMF, very hot topic nowadays, and also the reason why we're here today, and this is site payments module. So I will not go to a lot of technical details. I will leave it to my Flex colleagues who will show you a short demo, and we'll be talking about another case study, and we'll show integration and other items that can be and hopefully will be interesting for you. But I will give you small technical part, how the process works, short overview, and as you can see, it's just 5 simple steps. So what is the regular process when you do not use automated system? You have an Excel spreadsheet and you track your payments against clinical trial agreements, EDC, and accounting system. It's a lot of work even if you have the small study with very few sites and a few patients. But it can become a real nightmare when you deal with a large study with a lot of sites and patients. So in the system first, you set up project and enter information per protocol. number of patient visits, number of days between visits, procedures to be done each visit, etc. If you do not use automated system, you don't need this step. So this is additional work, can be seen as an additional work when you use this system, but frankly, this is the only additional work that you need to do, and it will take you maybe 1 hour to complete. The next step is master study budget creation, based on study structure and budget structure you have with the sites. This can be seen also as an additional work, but you'll need to do this in Excel tracker as well, even if you don't use automated system. So though this task will take you another hour, I wouldn't count it as an additional hour, but this is just 1 hour. So if you insist, we can add another additional hour to the automated process. After that, you go and prepare individual site budgets. And it will take you about 15 to 20 minutes per site. It can be a little less or a little bit more based on the number of invoiceables that you have in the budget that you are paying for. But this is definitely what you would be doing in the Excel tracker or any non-automated system that you are using. The system, however, will allow you to do it faster. It will populate same line items from the master budget. Also, you can create rules in the master or site-specific budget, such as payments only for this or that number of screen failure patients, hold back 10% till the end of the study, etc. Also, the system will allow you, it will track adherence to those rules, and the system also will allow you to divide payments between the site and investigator if needed, or pay multiple study team members if this is required by different sites. So these two steps were set up. Now you are ready to use the system. Depending on your arrangements and agreements with the sites, you will receive data from the EDC. It can be monthly or quarterly or whatever you decide if you choose periodic expert from the EDC, or anytime if you go with the NDC integrated option. And Marietta will be talking about this. And then you pay the sites based on this data. No need anymore to chase after the sites to receive invoices. No discrepancies between your data and sites' data. Visits entered into EDC during payable visit are paid. If there was a visit, but it's not in the EDC, it will be paid after it appears in the system. Review and approval process on the CRO or sponsor side, but I'm talking about Confidence. So on CRO side, ensures accuracy and no risk of non-payment or double payment. When visits are registered in the EDC and they appear in the system, they are approved by a designated person, or persons, can be multiple persons if you want to add another step, who marks the visit or procedure or invoiceable, whatever you pay for, as approved. After that, this information goes to the financial person, accountant, finance manager, whoever is responsible for payments. And this person pays approved amount and marks it as approved and paid. Reports are available at any time. You can choose reports per site or total for study, status of invoices. It can be draft, approved, or approved and paid, etc. It is also important to mention that end of study reconciliation process becomes considerably easier. It takes about 1 week for reconciliation, of course, depending on the study site. The more site you have, the longer is the reconciliation period. But percentage-wise, I'd say we gain by using the system about 60 to 80% of the time if you compare it to non-automated approach. So the next slide shows you real-life metrics from Confidence. Project and budget setup on the system takes usually 1 day. It doesn't mean in 8 hours. It just shows that this task can be completed in 1 day. So setup is extremely easy. Site setup in the system will take you about 15 minutes per site. Again, the time varies depending on what you need and your arrangement with the sites. If you have a couple of pages of invoiceables that you're paying for, it can take a little bit more, but average 15 minutes is time that usually is needed to set up one site in the system. Then generation of patients' visits invoices with integration. It will take you about 3 minutes per invoice because you just get the data and do a quick check. And with import tool, you need to add additional 15 minutes for data import, just generally 15 minutes. And then it's again, same 3 minutes per invoice. Approval of invoices, here we are talking about patient visits. It's very fast. You do it like 5 minutes per invoice. And invoiceables will take you more time because you don't get this information from the EDC. It comes from different sources and it's more lines usually. So let's say about 15 minutes to approve invoiceable. All this allows us 100% payment of time on time if we receive money on time from the sponsor. And reconciliation at the end of the study, as I just said, it would take about 1 week average. So that's the metrics. And we started talking about how this helps recruitment, and you don't see metrics on recruitment here. So yeah, that's right. These metrics don't answer the question raised in the webinar title, How Payment Accelerates Recruitment. And basically it's because you use a lot of tools to accelerate recruitment, and only combination of those tools help to meet enrollment goal. But sorry, as the system helps to build relationship with the sites, we know that this also helps to accelerate enrollment. So this short presentation hopefully showed how and why Confidence uses automated site payment system. And now my esteemed colleagues from Flex will show you a short demo and another case study, which will show how the system works in real life for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. Enjoyable, like as always. And I just want to check if everybody's still here. Nobody was bored. I'm sure that nobody was bored while Anna's presentation, but still, if you just, wanted to switch your screen, don't do that. Now we have a little thing for you. We have a poll. In the right bottom of the screen, you see the word saying polls. Please go there and check the question. The question is actually, how complex is the process of site payments at your company? Just go ahead, hit the button, and we'll see the results. I will give you just maybe a minute and do it myself, and then we'll see what happens. What are the results? So let's see how everybody thinks, what everybody thinks. So I'm going to submit my vote also.
Yeah, I suggest we don't go on until everybody votes. Maybe just a couple more seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, it seems like it's mostly medium complexity for most, and low, I believe. I bet it's Anna.
Yeah, but still we have a couple of people having it like as a very high complex process. So I hope after this webinar, your mind can be changed and we can help you maybe to streamline the process. And further, I will show you how Novo Nordisk did that.
Yeah, we'll also see the statistics from that Novo Nordisk provided on how actually complex it was before they implemented the system and after with the like real life data. So I'm excited for that, Marietta.
Yeah,
Go
wait for
ahead.
it. So regarding what I'm gonna show you now is a brief demo of the system and how it all works. So as soon as you open up the system, I mean subject tracking and invoicing, you can see the most pressurable thing in the system, the dashboards. So the dashboards will show you what's your monthly enrollment, actual versus planned. You can, zoom in, zoom out, compare them. You can switch between the sites. You can see the totals. You can define the timelines you want to see. So you can always be aware of what's going on within the recruitment. And then you can also see what are the screen failures numbers. Again, you can go per site or see the totals. And subject or patient statuses. You can see the totals, you can go by site, you can go as crazy as you want here. Another thing I have here to show you is monthly versus total recruitment targets. And the pressure here is budgeted versus actual costs. So you can know exactly what you spent and what you budgeted. As Anna showed you the flow, I can't but mention that here you have the first thing to do is describe a little bit your protocol to the system, and then you go on and create the budget management. So you create the budget, but you definitely don't have to do it manually. I'm sure nobody wants that. You can just copy paste the previous budget, but again, you have flexibility in here. You cannot just copy paste the whole budget of the previous study or the one you want to choose as the baseline, but you can go and pick specific pieces of the budget you would like to copy. Say just pass through costs or document roles or something else. And if you are like super precise and you would like to plan your budget per site and not distribute it from the total budget, go ahead and plan budget per site. Again, copying the pieces. Study budgets usually have a lot of versions. And again, the system allows that. You can have as many versions as you want to have in the system. They can be approved, they can be final, or they can be drafted. And you can estimate the rules, which will allow you to see overhead or limit your targets of screen failures. And this is the section I love the most because everything seems super clean here. You can see the per subject costs in any currency you would like to have in the system. Definitely keep that in mind. And what this table shows us is the costs for visits or for procedures, like both at once per each subject. You can have the overhead in here, and you can see what was paid, what it would be paid, and so on and so forth. All the numbers are clickable, so you can change them in this area, and you can give some notes to the system. And surely you can go and check what was paid, what is optional to be paid, what is unpaid, and so on and so forth. Surely, like everything which can be in the system should be exportable, and this budget is not an exception. Then, how does the information get into the system? Surely with EDC integration. You can do it a semi-automated version like the previous screen you've seen, or you can just export the information from your EDC and upload it to the system with our import tool. Going further, I can show you, and I would love to show you how the all invoices per each site looks like in the system. You can see everything that was contracted, that was paid, that was approved in the system. You can click any figure and find the exact information of what is hidden behind it. And you can definitely see how the invoices look like. You can upload the invoices and see how they look. Here we have our template, but again, the system is super flexible. You can add your logos and go as crazy as you want. So that was just our example of having the invoices in the system. And again, any currency you would like to have in the system, go ahead and have it. And the last thing I would like to show you is the section which is called All Invoices. This is the place where you can find any invoice ever registered in the system. So here you can see everything that was approved, everything that was drafted in all the sites, in all the subjects. And you can surely downloaded information just in a second by one click. So that was our system, subject tracking and invoicing in a nutshell, in a very shy and humble nutshell, because the system is much more deeper. But let me go further and share how this system helped Novo Nordisk to go and improve, I would say, like their lives. Shall we continue with the Novo Nordisk case study? Sure, we shall. So, first of all, I cannot but say that main issues connected to site payment process are the following: delayed invoicing, apparently not leading to sites loving you back, and irritating complexity of the process if it occurs in the company, which usually is a burden for CRAs and PMs, who are more concentrated on much different tasks, many different tasks. Meanwhile, most sites are working with no more than 3 months operation budget, meaning if the sponsor does not pay faster than this period or within this period, the site will have to go and literally use the budgets from other studies. And surely this will lead to complete mess in their cash flow, and that will be a distraction for PIs and sites in general. Literally, we don't want them to be distracted. We want them to be more concentrated on on patient recruitment, and to avoid all these issues, Novo Nordisk asked Flex to support with our 2 modules, which I love a lot. What we offered to Novo Nordisk was implementation of 2 modules. The first one was subject tracking and invoicing, and the second one was investigators and sites payment management. I'm sorry. So subject tracking and invoicing provided the possibility to manage the data on patient enrollment and transparent approach to site payments, budgets, and projections, while sites and investigators and sites management allowed to keep all the sites information in one place in a clear manner and very ready to reuse the information. Now, let's move to the figures. Before system implementation, Novo Nordisk measured several crucial figures of their site payment process. As the main burden of this process was on CRAs and local trial managers, the company assessed time spent by these 2 roles and then compared the figures after a year of the system implementation. And here what happened in a year. Actually, can we please go back to the previous slide? I still want to be more concentrated there. Yeah, thank you. And here is what happened. Like before the implementation of subject tracking and invoicing, the hours spent on the process of budget preparation by LTMs was 8 hours. 8 hours, and after system implementation, it decreased to 2.5 hours. Just think about it. The company managed to save 5.5 hours of LTMs on this activity. Time on contract preparation, which engaged both CRAs and LTMs, decreased by 8 times for CRAs and by 5 times for LTMs. While I was preparing this presentation, I caught myself on the following thought. Before system implementation, LTMs used to spend almost 2.5 workdays on contract and budget preparation, because actually 8 plus 11 gives us 19, which leads to 2.5 days of work. And after they managed to do that in 4.5 hours, meaning they managed to do the same amount of work before their lunchtime. And one of the best results was improvement of invoice preparation also. Again, both CRAs and LTMs managed to save time, CRAs by 1.6 and LTMs by 2 times. Actually, the company went further. Novo Nordisk measured the annual workload, how many hours were spent by all their CRAs and LTMs on the whole site payment process a year before the implementation of subject tracking and invoicing, and a year after. So let's look at the table here. This implementation led to 1.5 times reduction of working hours for CRAs and 2 times work time reduction for LTMs. Thus, there was no need to hire more additional staff. The company has managed to allocate the available resources to different tasks and cut overall costs of site payment process. And what about the complexity? Because this is very important that everything is clear and going smooth. No secret, site payments are not the simplest process, and a lot of CRAs and PMs find it pretty much complex. Novo Nordisk measured the perception of this process by the company's employees. Before the implementation of subject tracking and invoicing, 55% of employees found site payment process very high complex. And after, 38 of them rated it as low complex. 52% of employees claimed that invoice preparation was very complicated, and after, only 10%. So to sum up, by automatization of site payments with our patient tracking and invoicing, Novo Nordisk managed to achieve both, speed up the processes and decrease the burden of their employees. And just a couple of slides with some boring details, such as EDC integration, transparency, and reporting. Okay, I'm laughing, reporting is not boring at all, and everybody loves it. But still, let me start with EDC integration. Surely, as I mentioned during the demo, there are 2 major options within the system that can be done by the client themselves, by the users. Semi-automated integration with EDC, or literally bringing the information from EDC to subject tracking and invoicing via Excel file. But still, having API in place, we can manage to make the systems talk to each other and actually map them. So in this case, you will save a lot of time. But again, you will save a lot of time anyway. Well, what does that give us when we have the systems connected? First of all, it will allow to avoid double input. And as soon as PI adds data on any subject into EDC, the same moment the information gets into subject tracking and invoicing module, the same moment the subject is already accounted in the enrollment and you're ready to invoice, and like it is ready to be invoiced immediately. And surely, the less we do anything manually, the less the chances for the mistakes are. Transparency is one of the key advantages of the system. You can always have the data on patient recruitment by your hand. You open the system and the first thing you see is the target versus actual numbers. You can see exactly which sites recruited the most, or maybe there are the ones that need some more motivation that require your attention. You can plan your budget in multiple currencies, distribute the payments between PIs and sites at once, and go with direct payments for each of them. You can pay by visits or by procedures. It does not matter because both ways, you know exactly what you're paying for. Either approve the visits and you're ready to go pay for them, just like this, or approve the procedures and pay for the exact procedures that the site already has performed. And the success part, reporting. As soon as your site payment process is automated, you can see stats and get deep dive into what's going on your study. And it happens like in seconds or minutes. It allows you to gain maximum information regarding your current status, define the problems, if any, and troubleshoot immediately. At the end of the day, system is not a place to put the information into or feed the information to. It is the place to gain the information from and use it to make right decisions. Thank you. Actually, this is it from my side. And now I'm happy to open up all the questions and go through them. If you haven't had chance to go in and type your question, please do it now. We're always happy to have more and more of those.
It seems to be not as a troubling session as it was with the quality management system that we had. We had a lot of those.
Yeah.
Okay, let me check the question section just in case there were any, and I don't see any in the chat function. So I think that we can finish with that then. And Anna, thank you so much for joining today and sharing your experience from the client perspective. I think that this is the most valuable intel into how Flex databases can help with clinical trials management.
Thanks for inviting me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we'll send out the presentation and the video recordings. So we'll follow up with an email. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.